Shalom Yasharallah, this is your brother Dawada, coming back at you with this truth again. First and foremost, I want to give all praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruach HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, the great millstone that taught us this truth and that well. And salutation and much love for you, Aki, pushing this truth and sincerity on the four corners of the earth and enduring afflictions to feed and edify the elect. So real quick, I want to jump into this here, two quick articles real quick, just dealing with more of these prophecies that we have taking place, because, hey, that's the year that we're in, like Apostle Tahar deemed the year of prophecy, 2020, man. All right, and every day as we've been going by, these prophecies have been speaking loud and clear. You have them overlapping one another. All right, so in the midst of the coronavirus second wave pandemic, all right, now you have another one that's, like I was saying with a couple other articles, you have these different pandemics stirring up. You got, I believe, the return of the Ebola virus. You got the bubonic plague here. I think they said they have another version of like swine flu rising up. And then there's another disease. I forgot what it was. But nevertheless, we're going to touch on this here article. All right. And I had pulled this article a little earlier. But nevertheless, as I went back to find this article, there's a newer article updated after this one. So we're going to read through this one real quick. Bubonic plague claims boy's life in Mongolia, triggering fears of another pandemic. A Mongolian teenager diagnosed with bubonic plague died on Monday. The 15-year-old reportedly contracted the deadly disease after consuming meramot meat. The boy ate the infected meat with his two friends, whose condition is currently unknown. People who have been in contact with them have been isolated and vaccinated, according to the country's National Center for Zoonotic Diseases. Eating meremots and other rodents, which are the principal delivery boys of the bubonic bacteria, is not uncommon in Mongolia. The plague has bubonic and pneumonic lung-affecting forms that can kill within a few days of being contracted. The Mongolian boy died 3 days after eating the rodent. All right. Several cases of bubonic plague, once a deadly disease, have been reported in Western Mongolia in the last week, with another case in China. Some tabloid media outlets have already started spreading panic over the looming plague pandemic in an attempt to cash in on the news, which some experts have already dismissed as just hot air. Between 2010 and 2015, there were 3,248 cases reported worldwide, including 584 deaths. All right, but hey, as you can see, it's not really if this is actually happening or not, but you can see as they're interjecting, like they were saying about the tabloids, or they're interjecting this idea and this situation into the minds of the people, keeping them in a state of fear on all sides. All right, so now let's go up and read this newer article that just came through. All right. It says that's 2020 for you. Twitter goes nuts after squirrel tests positive for bubonic plague in Colorado. All right, that's what I was saying. Hey, man, the prophecies are clearly speaking, man. Things are happening in a biblical proportion. You can't even. I was about to report on this here situation and over basically in China, Mongolia, basically. But nevertheless, here you go over here in Colorado. All right. It says an unlucky squirrel from Colorado has tested positive for the bubonic plague. Local health officials said with U.S. COVID-19 cases soaring past 3.3 million mark, news on the classic disease comeback have caused quite a stir. All right, and that's the point of why they're trying to interject this here information. Whether or not, this plague is actually coming back, because, the scriptures do say that the Lord is going to send plagues on this here place, man. All right, so we're not in the so-called denial of, all these different things. What you have to understand is basically Esau's plan and the Most High's plan is pretty much the same plan here at the end all be all. It just, divert at the end. Esau's plan is that his house going to go on forever, whereas the Most High has an appointed time for him, all right, to fall. But nevertheless, when you look into like the Georgia Guidestones, depopulation, all right, keep the world under a 500 million mark, that's 6.5 billion people to be exterminated. When you look at when the Lord comes back for Judgment Day, man, this is what you see going on right now, man. They're depopulating and put people in fear, all right, also to implement their New World Order system. All right, so with them and their witchcraft, their sorcery, owning the news and the media, the TVs and TV stations, they can pump out this here propaganda to get you people scared and afraid, man. All right, they got you wearing masks in your own house by yourself. Nobody else live there with you. They got you wearing the mask inside your house out of just the fear that they stirred up through their sorcery through the TV, man. All right, it says the discovery of the infected rodent was announced by the Jefferson County Public Health body. The squirrel is the first case of plague in the country this year, the authority noted. Plague is an infectious disease caused by the bacteria Yersinia pestis and can be contracted by humans and household animals if proper precautions are not taken. All right, it says the dreaded disease, which decimated the world's population at least 3 times during the massive pandemics over the course of history, is extremely rare nowadays. Between 1,000 and 2,000 cases of the plague are still registered worldwide each year, coming primarily from Democratic Republic of Congo. So they're trying to say it's coming from Africans, which we already understand we're not the same as these Hamites and everything like that. But nevertheless, look at the narratives that they're trying to paint, man. All right, they just had a whole world in a stir of, oh, you got the Wuhan virus over there from China. Now they saying, oh, well, you got this over here from Mongolia, which is right there. The doorstep is basically of China. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, now they're trying to push off this here situation here and trying to tie this to so-called Africans. All right, getting everybody's mindset on, look, this is the enemy, or the disease is the enemy, and who's bringing this? All right, these, in their eyes, these heathen, right? This is while the probability of a full-scale outbreak of the plague on America's soil is next to zero. News of the squirrel's misfortune caused a quiet stir on social media, with users well prepared for disaster by the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. Many said gloomingly that anything bad is possible this year, whether it's an outbreak of the plague, a zombie apocalypse, or a killer meteorite. Ultimately, it's going to be a chariot, man. All right? But nevertheless, let me read some of these. It says, bubonic plague in Colorado. The world wants us dead. Really, the Most High is the judgment for your wickedness, It says, I got my zombie survival rules. Do you? So a squirrel tested positive for bubonic plague in Colorado today. It feels like we're playing a real-life game of Jigsaw. I don't know why everybody's freaking out about the bubonic plague. It definitely isn't pleasant to have, but y'all know it's treatable, right? And it didn't get eradicated, so it still exists on Earth. So it's not news for rodents to be carrying it still. It's not new for rodents to be carrying it still, albeit uncommon. So going into the same thing, like I said, it's not necessarily of them, the propaganda. It's the tactic of getting you in fear. There's certain diseases that's been around or whatever, whatnot, but all they got to do is tell you, because you're not going to research it. It's just like your DNA test or your coronavirus test. You don't know how to read the test, so they can tell you anything. You can go get, you can know your whole bloodline, you go back to so-called black people the whole time. And they're like, yep, your DNA test came back, you came from Mars. And you will believe it because they're like, well, these are the people, they know better, they know what's going on, So let's jump into some scriptures. Not going to make this too long. Let me first go to the book of Luke. I think it's chapter 21 and verse. I'm going to start at verse 7. It says, and they asked him, saying, Master, let me start somewhere else first. Habakkuk 2 and 3, because see, this is keep ringing out right now because this is the time that we're in. All right, and listen to this here scripture. It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. And this is why we're bringing this out over and over and over again, because this is the appointed time that it's for. This is the time now that, that it needs to be, how do I put it? You have certain things where you need something. You're practicing, you having your ultimate practices or your last little warm-ups right before performance time, man. All right, you're not really training as hard, right before the event because it's far off. But now the vision is yet for an appointed time, so we're going to keep harping on these things. Way back in the days, we was touching on other things and everything else like that. But now it's just prophecy after prophecy after prophecy after prophecy after prophecy, man. All right, so it says the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak. And that's where we at right now. Twofold, all right? Right now it's actually speaking. You can see it left and right, left and right, left and right, man. We was just reading some of these Twitter posts, how they saying, damn, it must be the end of the world. Regular blonde-ass 2/3 people, it's even clear to them. You know how they say, hey, it's so clear, even Stevie Wonder could see this, man. All right, but nevertheless, the Most High got, a lot of these people blinded so they don't come to the complete truth. Hey, but, for the most people, they know, let's stay in their pride, you know what I'm saying, that, hey, it's something strange going on right now, man. All right? So it says, write the vision and make it plain upon tape. Oh, Salak. Verse 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it shall surely come, it will not tarry. When we were speaking on a lot of these things, the death, the destruction, the plagues, the collapses, and so on and so forth, people thought we were crazy. But now 2020 come around, you actually living it, man. All right, we don't seem that crazy no more, man. Like one of the brothers always like to say, hey, man, all the things we used to say, y'all don't even come up to the camps no more and say nothing to us no more about it. You don't have anything to say about it. You walk up like, damn, y'all right. Let us listen because we, damn, y'all might be right. We are putting 2 and 2 together now, But nevertheless, let me go over to the book of Luke. This is Luke 21:7. It says, and they asked him, saying, Master, but when shall these things be? And what sign shall there be when these things shall come to pass. All right, so they're asking the signs, like we can read in 2nd Ezra chapter 9, it says, measure the time diligently. All right, and the way you're going to be able to measure the times is right here. So actually, let me see. Okay, so here's one right here. It says, Luke 21:29, and he spake to them a parable. Behold, the fig tree and all the trees. All right, so he's about to give you the metaphor on how to measure the times diligently. All right, how you going to be able to measure this thing? It says, when they now shoot forth, you see, and you know for your own selves that summer is nigh at hand. So likewise, when you see these things come to pass, you know that the kingdom of the Most High is nigh at hand. All right, so just like your simple farming or whatever, whatnot, or there's another scripture that says, you can't discern the face of the sky, but you can't see basically what's going on around you. You can walk outside and tell when it's about to rain because it's all dark and gloomy and cloudy. You know what I'm saying? You should be able to measure it, like, all right, it's about to rain. Or when the sun is starting to go down, all right, it's about to get dark. Or if you're in the middle of the night and the sun started to come up, all right, the day is about to come. If you don't know what time it is, like, all right, it's now about to be morning time. You can measure the times by looking around you, the things that you're able to measure. All right, now here we was talking about writing a vision and make it plain upon the tables. All right. And also here it says, these are going to be the signs. So we're going to measure according to these signs. Now let me jump down to verse 9. It says, when you should hear of wars and commotions, all right, now you still have wars and rumors of wars lingering in the background. All right, Russia's still being a guardian to these other nations. All right, wars and commotions. All right, you also have things like the Brexit, you know what I'm saying, and a lot of these other EU nations trying to break up out of the EU, man. All right, Trump tearing up a lot of these trade deals and so on and so forth, man. All these different commotions and shakeups with these different nations and things, right? It says, be not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by. So these are the times that we're living in now, where you're starting to see this great shaking up of a lot of different things on the earth, man. All right. Verse 10. Then said he unto them, nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. All right. And we've basically been in the same time, all right, about the wars and the rumors of wars and nation rising against nation, really since America, was established. But ultimately, this last hard push started after September 11th. They went and plundered the Middle East, and now they're trying to plunder all the rest of these other nations and subdue the rest of the planet. They only got a couple nations left. But so this is what they're going to ultimately go to World War III for, just to so-called subdue those last final nations, in their mind, So continuing on, verse 11, it says, and great earthquakes shall be in diverse places. We've been hearing about these earthquakes. Even had one, I forgot what year it was, with the tsunami in Japan and things like that. All right, California has some. Puerto Rico had like 1,000 of them at the beginning of the year or the late last year. All these different earthquakes going on around the whole earth daily, man. And famines, all right? You also have food shortages going on here in America right now, And the prices of food actually going up because of the coronavirus lockdown. The food processing plants had to close down and things like that, right? But nevertheless, they were having to throw away a lot of the food, all right? And pestilence. Now, here's the part that we were reading in those articles, The bubonic plague is coming back. Now, people are in fear of the bubonic plague. They're not even over the COVID situation. They're right now in fear of the second wave of the COVID. The government ain't really told them to shut nothing down since they opened up. But yet and still, all these local bars and restaurants are taking it upon themselves to shut down right now, man. Why? Because they're scared of the things that's coming on high, man. They see in these signs and these things is going on, and that fear starting to fall upon them, man. All right. It says, and pestilence and fearful sights and great signs shall they be from heaven. All right. You got all these, celestial events going on in the sky. All right. There's also plenty of so-called, plenty of meteorites passing close by the earth at the time, man. All right. Also in the news, they keep talking about discoveries of new, not to say planets, but new, galaxies and things like that, black holes and stars and remnants and all these different things, going to what, how Yahushua said, in my father's house are many mansions, I go to prepare you a place, Verse, that was it I wanted to grab there. Let me go from there to, I just referenced this. Let me go grab that in Ecclesiastes 12, all right? What verse? Jump to verse 5. Matter of fact, let me just read from 3 because, hey, it says, in the days when the keepers of the house shall tremble. These are also talking about what? The times of the end, how you can measure the times diligently, all right? We see that Babylon has suddenly fallen. We would have take balm for her, but she's not healed. But you also see this on a global scale. It says, Ecclesiastes 12:3, point is in verse 5. In the days when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, the grinders cease because they are few. And those that look out the window be darkened, and the doors be shut in the streets when the sound of grinding is low. And what do we just experience not only here in America, but globally, man? Businesses shutting down, businesses going out of business, man, over the COVID-19 pandemic, all right? Now, what are we reading about over here in these articles talking about the bubonic plague, man? Yeah, even though they might have cures for it or whatever, whatnot. You see, this is how they play. Like, oh, well, they kind of tease you and scare you. Oh, these things are coming back. But don't worry. It's been around for a while. We got vaccines for it. Like, oh, all of a sudden it mutated, because coronavirus ain't nothing new. All right. But then when it's like, oh, well, coronavirus has been around, but then it mutated. Now we got this novel coronavirus. It just mutated to a different strand, just like the swan flu and everything like that. But, well, it's the flu, but it's just different strands, you know. But nevertheless, a lot of these businesses wind up shutting down due to these things, man. All right. It says, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and the daughters of music shall be brought low. You seen all these versus battles and so on and so forth, and these celebrities trying to make, their ends meet. They looking all scruffy on the videos and stuff like that now. Hell, a lot of them are actually talking about the Israelites. Even them in their pride, because you have some of these rappers that are like 40, 50 years old still trying to rap, never really caught on. But now, and saying that to say this, they're trying to show that their effort. They're like, nah, I'm trying to get put on. I'm trying to rap. So this is my desire. Hey, man, they put that desire aside, and they over here now talking about, our original gods had names. The father's name was Yahweh, and the son's name is Yahushua, and so on and so forth, man. All right, so they ain't got nothing else better to do. You ain't got no freestyles, no concerts, and nothing to do, Verse 5. Also, when they shall be afraid of that which is high, and fear shall be in the way, and the almond tree shall flourish, and the grasshopper shall be a burden, and the desire shall fail, because a man's going to his long home, and the mourners go to the streets. All right, and so this is what you also have happening right now. This truth is flourishing. This wickedness and deception is actually being put out. All right, but then these men are looking at the things that's coming on the earth, man. Right now, you got the coronavirus, the lockdown from that, then people's losing their jobs, then they're about to lose their house. They're looking forward, like, I'm about to lose my house, my mortgage, all this and that. That's why a lot of these people are committing suicide, man. All right, now they just got off the lockdown, the COVID lockdown. Then it's like, oh, shit, a second wave? I don't know if I could take this. I almost cracked during the first wave. Oh, shit, now another virus, another sickness. What are we going to do, man? All right, which is going to bring me to this here precept. Matthew 24 and 22. Verse, we'll just get to the point. Matthew 24, 22, 21. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And this is actually true right now in a certain sense, because right now, a lot of you Americans are living right now in the worst time of your entire life, man. All right. I can tell you for my own self, at my age, I ain't never seen in my whole lifetime where schools got shut down like that nationwide, and kids had to go, take their class some other type of way, where businesses were shut down like that nationwide. People are sitting at home losing their jobs, unemployment skyrocketed and things like that, man. These are all new things to us, you know what? But it's going to get way worse, man. But in a sense, this is like great tribulation for a lot of us right now who ain't never went through nothing real, like you wasn't living in World War II times or nothing like that. But nevertheless, this is the harshest time for a lot of Americans. But hey, guess what? It's going to get way worse. All right. Verse 22. And except those days should be shortened, there shall be no flesh saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. And I guarantee you there's a lot of people right now that's begging for these days to be over. Oh, just kill me already. Oh, man, what else can 2020 bring, man? I'm a believer now, man. If this ain't the year the Lord come back, and I'm an atheist, all types of things like this, man. People out there, they committing suicide, man. They out here, these people out here through, man. They can't take it no more. We only in the, like, Matthew 24 and 8. It says, let me read verse 7 just for context. For nation shall rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines, pestilence, and earthquakes in diverse places, like we read in Luke. All right, as a continuation. Verse 8, all these are the beginning of sorrows. This is only the beginning of these things, man. All right, so you have these people that are how do I say, afraid of these things, all right? Man, I can't remember where that precept was I was looking for. I had another precept on my mind. I just forgot where it was at. Slakia. Okay, I know where it is. This is Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse for context, we'll start at verse 12. It says, wherefore it shall come to pass, if you hearken unto these judgments and keep and do them, that Yahweh thy power shall keep unto thee the covenant and the mercy which he swore unto thy fathers. And we know that we didn't keep that covenant, right? But nevertheless, you got the remnant, the elect right now that's coming back unto the Lord. All right, this is going to transition us into the kingdom where we're going to have the law, statutes, commandments written inside of us. Verse 13, and he will love thee and bless thee and multiply thee. He will also bless the fruit of thy womb and the fruit of thy land, thy corn, thy wine, and thy oil, the increase of thy kine, and the flock of thy sheep, and the land which he swore unto thy fathers to give thee. All right, so hey, we're not in that stage yet, right? Thou shalt be blessed above all people. There shall not be a male or female barren among you or among your cattle. All right, so again, we haven't seen these things happen yet, right? Verse 15, all right, kind of showing you like we're not there yet, but what's got to happen before we get there. And Yahweh will take away from thee all the sickness and put none of the evil diseases of Egypt, which thou knowest, upon thee, but I will lay them upon all them that hate thee. So, what is that? Deuteronomy 30:7, I think. Yeah, I think it's Deuteronomy 30:7, where it says the Most High was going to take all these curses and put them on our enemies, right? So as we read in here, we're just reading about how the Most High was going to bless us with all these things. We know that didn't happen, right? So before we, Esau's the end of the world and Jacob's is the beginning of it that followeth, right? So let's keep reading on verse 16. And thou shalt consume all the people which Yahweh thy power shall deliver thee. Thy eyes shall have no pity upon them, neither shalt thou serve their gods, for that will be a snare unto thee. And again, like we're reading here, as like you can read in the book of Daniel, the saints shall take the kingdom. All right, this is that transitional period, but that transitional period, all these plagues are going to start falling upon not only Babylon the Great, but around the rest of the world. All right. Yeah, let me read down to I gotta keep reading verse 17. If thou shalt say in thy heart, these nations are mad, or Salak, these nations are more than I, how can I dispose them? Thou shalt not be afraid of them, but thou shalt remember what Yahweh thy power did unto Pharaoh and unto all of Egypt. And that's where your faith got to be. That's why the scripture says that things written aforetime was written for our learning and understanding. A faith booster, man. The world's greatest military at that time, man. We was fleeing from them with nothing. All right. It says the great temptation which thy eyes saw, and the signs and the wonders in the mighty hand, and the stretched out arm whereby Yahweh thy power brought thee out, so shall Yahweh thy power do unto all the people whom art thou afraid. All right. Moreover, Yahweh thy power will send the hornet among them until they are left, and hide themselves from thee and be destroyed. All right. Thou shalt not be afflicted at them, for Yahweh thy power is among you, a mighty power and terrible. All right. I could have read all the way to the bottom, but we're not going to read there for time's sake. But nevertheless, as you see this in transitional period, as the Most High is raining down this here judgment on these different nations, I don't understand why these nations can't quite see what's going on, man. These Edomites, but the prize is going to be on them to keep pushing this racist rhetoric and so on and so forth, as the Most High is pouring out judgment after judgment after judgment after judgment. They don't even have time to recover from the COVID-19 before they go into another pandemic, man. All right, but, we're living in these beautiful times that we're able to discern and measure based off of what? The prophecies, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and close out with that. Lord willing, the elect was edified with this here lesson. Until next time, I say, call halal Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushai, Bahashim Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of the great millstone that taught us this truth and ever well. And citation, much love for you. I can push this truth and sincerity in the four corners of the earth and endure afflictions to feed and edify the elect. Until next time, I say, stay strong. Shalom.